there, my name is Kelly Dale and I'm coming at you today from Off the Beaded Path in Forest City, North Carolina. Today I want to show you how to make a new pair of crystal earrings using the right angle weave technique. Now I am at the store today, we are open, so you may hear some noises behind me or you may see some people passing behind me, and I do apologize that, but you do what you've got to do. And also I split my finger open and I'm sorry, but you're going to have to look at the Band-Aid. I figured you would rather look at a Band-Aid than look at the nice cut on my finger, so I apologize for that. But to make these earrings today, what you're going to need is 78 4mm Bicones, 36 3mm Bicones, about 84 size 11 seed beads, so this is a really good way to use up some extra seed beads that you may have. You're going to need one size 10 beading needle, 4 yards of 8-pound fire line, and you're going to need a pair of ear hooks, or you're also going to need some optional wire protectors, and we'll kind of go over that as we get into it, and I'll tell you about that. You want to start out with 2 yards of thread onto your needle, and then we'll get our materials together and get started. Alright, I've got my needle threaded and I'm ready to start, but I want to show you the project that we'll be doing today. This is the blue version that I'm going to be showing you actually in the video. I'm using a dark sapphire AB bicone with, and those are my 4s, with a 3mm crystal AB bicone. In this version of the earring, you can see that I've used a wire protector, and that's what I'm going to use for the second one. Here's another color that I've done. This is the Silver Champagne AB, all the way 3s and 4s, and then I've used the Black Diamond Gold Lined for my seed bead. Now as you can see here at the top, I've actually used a loop of seed beads. That works out really good. I did that for this one and this one. This is Bermuda Blue with Mexican Blue. It's really pretty because it's got that blue sheen to it, but you can see how your ear hook would attach to the loop. This is the optional part of the project where you can either do the loop of seed beads like that or the wire protector like this. Completely up to you and how you want to do it. These are the 3 color samples that we'll actually have kits for this week. So again, that's a Bermuda Blue with a Mexican Blue, a Silver Champagne, which is a very pretty neutral color, and a really pretty cobalt blue. So again, I've got started with 2 yards of thread on my needle. I'm going to start out with 1 size 11 seed bead, 2 4mm bicones, 1 3mm bicone, and 2 4mm. So what you're actually making with these beads that I just picked up is you're making this top loop right here. I want to show you a sample of one that I made with 2 colors, and these will work out really good for girls that you may make these for the prom for this year, because they're really pretty and sparkly, and they're a pretty good length for prom jewelry. So you can maybe think about doing all 3 in different colors like I did this one. If you want to do a multicolor, where I've added my beads here, you would pick up your 11 seed bead, your outside color 4mm, inside color 4mm, 3mm bicone, inside color 4mm, and outside color 4mm. So basically I would have a dark blue, a light blue, a clear, a light blue, and a dark blue. So that's kind of how you would pick up if you wanted to make a multicolored one like this piece. I've done these in many different colors, like using dark purple and light purple, you know, and then even lighter purple here on the inside. So there's a lot of color possibilities that you can have with this. But I'm going to take my beads that I've got and I'm going to drop them down, and I'm going to leave myself a little bit of a tail, and I'm going to hold the tail in my hand, and I'm going to go right back up through all those beads again. I'm going to pull the thread until I get those pulled. And I have a lot of people, when I tell them to do this, they pull outward like this so it doesn't pull it together. You want to grab a hold of the tail and the stringing material and pull them straight out. That's the way that they're coming out of the bead, so that'll get them good and tight together. Or as me and Kathy Crawford say, guten tight. We're going to get it guten tight. And we're going to pull this until you make a little knot. And you don't want a lot of knots because it's going to be right here next to the size 11 seed bead. So once you get it done, this is what you'll have. My knot is here on the right hand side of the seed bead. So I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to go down through the 2 4mm. So I'm going to go down through this one and this one. And this will get me into position to actually start the sides of my necklace. Or sides of my earring, sorry. If the tail gets in your way and bothers you, you can take a needle and thread it onto the little tail thread, stitch through a few beads, and then trim that off so it'll be completely out of your way. So we just finished this part here, and now we're going to start making these loops here that along the side that will make up one side of the earring. Now as you can see, I did the loop one way here, and I'm going to be doing the loops different until I get down to the center bottom, and this loop will be like my top loop. Anytime you come out towards the center, and the center will be where your 3mm are at, you'll want to pick up a 3mm first. So I'm going to pick up a 3mm and 2 4mm. I want to come back through the same bead I'm coming out of so that it makes a circle. So in this case, I'm going to come right back down through the bead. I need to be coming out over here to get into position. So I'm going to come through the 3mm and the 4mm. So through the 3. And I do these one at a time. This will keep it nice and tight as you work. So I told you just a second ago, anytime you exit towards the inside, you pick up the 3mm first. So now, anytime you come out towards the outside, you're going to pick up the 4mm first. So I'm going to pick up 2 4mm and 1 3mm. I'm going to come right back up through the same 4mm so that my beads will make a circle. I need to be coming out of this bead over here, so I'm going to go through the 2 4mm so that it gets me into position to start. You always have to be coming out of that side 4mm to get into position to make your next circle. Coming out towards the center, so I'm going to pick up my 3mm first, so I'll pick up 1 3mm and 2 4mm. I want to come around to make that circle, so I'm going to come right back down through the same bead. And I need to be coming out of this bead over here to get into position. So I'm going to go through the 3mm and the 4mm. And as you can see, when I go through a bead, I put my finger on that bead. I use my thumb and my pointer finger to do this. And this will keep the bead in place, and it'll keep the thread good and tight as I work. So that way it keeps everything together. Coming towards the outside, so if you'll remember on this box, I told you to pick up your 4mm first. So I'm going to pick up 2 4mm and 1 3mm. I'm going to come right back through the same bead that I'm coming out of so that it makes a circle. And then I need to be coming out of this bead here to get into position. So I'm going to go through the top 4mm and the side 4mm. So not counting this top box that I started with, I'm just going to cover it up. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. For this side of the earring, we need a total of 8. So you want to continue to add 4 more boxes just like we added these first 4. Once you complete the 8 total boxes on this side, this is what it'll look like. You'll have your top center box and then 8 right angle weave boxes down the side. Now we're ready to do the bottom box. So my thread at this point is coming out towards the center. So I pick up the 3mm, and now this time I pick up 3 4mm. I'm going to come back around to make my circle, and then once I complete that, I'm going to go through the 3mm and the first 4mm that I threaded on so that it gets me into position to start the next side of the earring. We don't add that seed bead just yet because we'll do that when we add the seed beads along the whole outer edge. So now I'm ready to just start picking up my regular boxes again. So I'm going to do 2 4mm and 1 3mm. I'm going to come right back up through the same bead so that it makes my circle. Then I'll take the needle and come through 2 of the 4mm that I just added so that it gets me into position. Coming out towards the center, so this is where we pick up the 3mm and the 2 4mm. I'm going to come back around to make a circle. And then you want to go through the 3mm and the 4mm to get into position. So as you can see, it's just like the other side. This is our bottom that we just made, and now we have 2 boxes on this side. We need this side to be identical to this side. But what I want you to do is I want you to continue making 5 more boxes for a total of 7 boxes, because we'll use that 8th box to connect our 7th box to this. So go ahead and make 5 more boxes so that you'll have 7 boxes on this one side. When your 7 boxes are completed, this is what your side will look like. My thread is coming out towards the center of the circle, and I need to connect my very last box to my very first box. So to start out, I'm going to pick up 1 3mm. And I'm going to take the needle, and I'm going to come to the adjacent 4mm, which will be this one right here, and I'm going to come right up through that 4mm so that it goes from the center to the out, or from the inside to the outside. So from here to here, and pull that through. And when you pull that, that's going to connect the center of the last box. So now I just need to add 1 more bead here for the top of the outside. So I'm going to pick up 1 4mm. I'm going to take the needle, and I'm going to come to the last 4mm I threaded on, which will be this one. And I'm going to come right down through it, going from the outside of the earring towards the inside. Pull the thread so that now you have the completed shape of the earring. We need to stitch through the beads to exit this size 11 seed bead up top. So we want to go through this 3mm bicone, this 4mm, this 4mm, and then the size 11 seed bead. So through the 3, up through the 4, then through the 4 and the seed bead. Pick up 3 11s, and we want to come back through the same size 11 seed bead that we're coming out of to make a circle. Go through 2 of the 11s that you just added. So I'm going to go right up through this side one and then through the one here at the top. Pick up 1 4mm If you want the seed bead loop like this one here, you'll want to pick up 6 size 11s. If you want the wire protector, you'll need to pick up the wire protector. So I'm going to pick up my seed bead, and then I'm going to pick up my wire protector. I'm going to go up one side of the wire protector, down through the other side, and I'm going to go ahead and stick my needle right down through the 4 millimeter. I'm going to hold on to that 4 millimeter, and I'm going to pull the thread straight down. So I'm going to hang on to my wire protector here, so that when you get it pulled all the way down, it goes right up to that size 11 seed bead. I started the bell, as you can see, it's laying sideways because it started on this side. So I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to come back through this top 11, coming from right to left. And we'll hang on here, and I'm going to pull that so that will center the 4 millimeter over the size 11 seed bead. So I have a thread connecting this side and a thread connecting to this side. I'm going to take now and reinforce the whole earring. And you want to do this in a zigzag motion. So you'll basically come down and you'll just zigzag your way through the beads so that you do not see the thread as you stitch through. We want to do this for the whole earring. If you don't do this, you will have a very floppy earring. Right now, this earring's really floppy. If you skip this step, that's basically what you're going to have. Not going to be a whole lot better than that. Alright, so I'm coming out of the size 11 seed bead, so I'll go through the 2 4 millimeters here, the 3 millimeter, 2 4 millimeters, or 3 4 millimeters, 3 millimeter, 3 4 millimeters, 3 millimeter. So basically what I'm going to be doing is a zigzag motion all the way until I reach the top of the earring, back to the other side. Once you do that, you want to exit any one of these 3 millimeters here in the center of the earring. For me, I want to exit this top center one. So once you reinforce the whole earring, just be sure and exit out of this top center 3 millimeter. Right now, my needle is exiting the 3 millimeter center here in the top. I'm going to be working around just the center. On this first one, I'm going to go straight through the very next 3 millimeter. I'm not going to add anything, just go straight through it. You will see a thread, and that will be completely okay because on each side here, we're going to be adding in some 11 seed beads, so that will help push that together. I'm going to pick up one 11, and I'm going to go straight through the next seed bead. Lord help me, straight through the next 3 millimeter. Now I'm going to continue doing this until I get almost down to the bottom. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I'm going to add 7 size 11 seed beads down this side. I'm here to the bottom. I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to come straight through the next 2 3 millimeters. So through 1 and 2. Again, you may see a little bit of thread, but it's okay because as we work, that will get pulled together. So now I'm going to work the way up the top, picking up one size 11 and going straight through the next 3 millimeter. I've got one more to add. So now that I have that bead added, or that last one added, I'm here back to the top of my piece. So I'm going to take the needle and go right through the 3mm, not going to add anything. I'm going to pull that so that now the 3 here on the top are connected with the thread. You've got 7 11s. The 3 bottoms are connected with nothing in between, and then you have 7 11s. So that is what helps it. If you put an 11 into all the spaces, it's really going to bow out and not look good. Coming out of the center 3mm, I'm going to take my needle and go right up through the 4mm right above where my thread's coming out. I'm going to come through the 4mm to my left, pick up one size 11, and go straight through the next 4mm on the outside edge. We want to do this all the way till we hit the bottom. And as you pull it not really tight, I would say, but just pull it enough to where you pop the bead in and you don't see any space in between them. And as you do it, what'll happen is you can see it's starting to kind of curve down a little bit, and that's exactly what you want. I'm to my very bottom here. You can see how the shape is changing a little bit. So I'm at the bottom. So I'm going to pick up an 11 and go straight through the next 4mm. Now you can really play around with this bottom part. One thing I've not done, but you could probably try, and especially don't want to do it on this one because the color wouldn't be right, is you could use a 3.4mm drop and put here. You could drop down a crystal, kind of whatever you want to do, but you know, you can really play with the bottom of these earrings if you want them to dangle even more. So I'll pick up my 11 and go through, so that gives me my little bead here. Now I'm just going to keep working up this side. I'm going to work all the way up the side, putting in my 11s, and then come up through and put the 11 here on this side. Now that I've gone all the way around my piece, you can see where I have all my beads added. I'm going to turn it here to the side so that you can see how it's domed up. That's exactly what you want, and it's a good stiffer earring. You're ready to tie the thread off now. And I can honestly say I've gotten slack about showing you how to do this because I tend to forget that not everybody who watches these has seen all of my videos. So I want to show you that one more time. We're going to tie some half hitch knots. So what that means is I'm right here, my thread's coming out between the 4mm and the size 11 seed bead. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to wiggle my thread up underneath between those two beads. I'm going to pull and leave myself a little loop. Stick my needle through the loop and pull. And when I pull that thread, I want to make sure that that knot I just made goes between the 4mm and the 11. I'll stitch through a few beads coming out of a 4mm. So I'm going to stick my needle, try and wiggle it up under the thread between the 11 and the 4mm. Pull the thread, leave a loop, stick the needle through the loop, pull, making sure that that loop stays between those two beads. I'm going to stitch through a few more beads, and then I'm going to trim this tail off because I never cut the thread at a knot because you might actually accidentally cut the knot. You're ready to add your ear hook. So whatever kind of ear hook you want to use, you're going to take it, open the ear hook, and I'm going to bend this wire straight up, thread on the wire protector or your seed bead loop, and then close the ring on the earring, making sure that there's no space in between there, that you don't see any. so that now you have the piece completed. All total, let's see, all total, this earring ranges about 2.5 to 3 inches. So it's a good size earring, but it's excellent for prom or anything like that. And I just like to wear these on a daily basis. I mean, I'm not beyond wearing something sparkly every day. So again, these will be the 3 color kits that we'll have available. And then if you purchase the pattern, I'll put this picture on the pattern of this earring, so that way you can look and see where your colors are on this one. As I said, we will have kits available on our website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. We'll also have the pattern for sale on the website. Again, that's offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. And I wanted to shout out one more thing to you. If you get our weekly emails, you know that in January I announced that not only am I going to be writing a book, but I'm going to be doing a big bead retreat here in Rutherford County for City. Mainly in July. It's going to be July 22nd through the 25th. It's a really fun 4 days that we'll get, 3 to 4 days that we'll get to spend with each other, beading and me teaching you some new products. If you come to the bead retreat, you will be one of the first people to get my new book, which is called Beading with Monty's. Otherwise, the book will release in a digital copy on July 31st. So if you want more information about the bead retreat, go to offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com and you can look at the registration sheet and decide if it's for you. I do know that it's a bit pricey, but the good thing is that you don't have to pay everything up front. You can make payments on the bead retreat until June. So I would love to get to meet you guys, that you see me weekly, but I don't get to see you. So I would love to meet you if you get a chance to come and take the retreat. I'm hoping that we can start doing this on a yearly basis. So it'll be a good time to meet new people and make new friends. I hope that you guys have a wonderful week. We'll be back next week, Lord willing, and hopefully I won't have a Band-Aid on my finger. So we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.